Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Marie. Today I'll be starting off a brand new reading vlog. So before I get started, if you are new to this channel, please don't hesitate to subscribe down below as well as the notification bell. But it is pretty much the end of the year and I thought it would be a great time for me to just do a pure catching up a reading vlog where I'm going to be tackling the books that I have selected for my 5-star predictions video, as well as the top 22 books for me to read in this year. And there's quite a few books on there. I don't know exactly how many, but I want to say there's like at least 5 or 6 books. So for the next 2 weeks or so, I'm just going to really focus on these books and try to make a priority in reading them. So some of these books include Jade Fire Gold by June C.L. Tan. This is a book that I had on, I think, both of those lists. I also have A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas, which also is on both of those lists. And then another one on there is A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. This is another one I have on both of those lists. This is a book that I'm currently reading. I just started this book yesterday and I'm currently on page 25, so not a ton of progress, but so far I'm enjoying it. It's very whimsical, very much a high fantasy type of book, and I'm very intrigued so far. The writing is very sublime. It's not super detailed, but like enough details for it to still be very lyrical and very flowy. So I'm really enjoying all of that. It basically follows a guy. His name is Jack, and he has been summoned back to his homeland. So he is a bard, and he belongs to a group of people called the Tamerlands or something like that. And they have this long-standing animosity with another clan that lives right next to them. And on their island, there's like a very clear divider between the land, and if you cross it, dire circumstances, because there is just, like I said, a long-standing animosity between the two clans. They tried to have peace many years ago, didn't work out, and now basically they just don't like each other. So now he's summoned to go back to his homeland. He's not entirely sure why, but he was asked to bring his harp with him. So he goes back, and right after he arrives, he finds out that something is amiss and that the girls are going missing. And that's all I've gotten so far. He's met some of the guards there because he ran back, and the guards actually attacked him because they didn't know who he was. And then he was like, guys, it's me, like it's Jack. And then they're like, oh my god, I can't believe you've grown so much, etc. And so there's a little reunion, but also the fact that girls are going missing. So I'm curious to find out what's going to happen next. I want to say this book also follows another character. Okay, I think her name is Sidra, because the next chapter I think is under her POV. So I'm really curious to see about her. I want to know if she is part of the same clan or if she's part of their rival clan. All right, I meant to update you guys much earlier than now. It is now Thursday. I've actually been pretty busy the past couple of days because I just started a new job. So I've been busy with like onboarding and paperwork and a lot of training and stuff like that. So not only that, but just adjusting my schedule, because a lot of the people I'm working with are in different time zones. So I've been working at an earlier hour to kind of accommodate meetings at, you know, 9 or 8:30 or even 8 a.m. So it's like it's been like a very busy couple of days for me, but I have been reading. I'm still reading A River Enchanted, and now I am on page 258. So I am more than halfway through. I'm actually really enjoying this book. It definitely gave some like slowish start in the beginning, but the writing is very beautiful. It's very lush. I just love the atmosphere and the world that has been created so far. It also follows a girl called Adira. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She is the heiress to the clan, and she's also trying to figure out what's happening to these girls, but also trying to see if there's any way to come to a peaceful negotiation with the next door clan, because they're all getting tired of this animosity and this constant harassment and warring parties between the two clans, and she's trying to see there's a peaceful negotiation, peaceful trade talks, etc. So there's a lot of political aspect going on to this, a lot of magical elements to it. There's a lot of romance in here as well. I do think the romance is a little bit off sometimes, because their childhood background is that they hated each other. They did not like each other. She literally calls him her old menace. So there's not a lot of love between the two of them. But yet somehow, now that they're older, there is an attraction between the two of them. So it's like a weird-ish kind of setting, I think, between the two, just because of their history. But at the same time, it's a classic enemies to lovers kind of relationship, I suppose. But I do feel like the romance has not been explored too much between the two of them. It just seems like it's kind of there just to have a romance. So that's kind of my biggest issue so far with this book. But overall, I'm really enjoying the plot. I'm really enjoying the characters themselves. I love the family dynamics in here, because Jack is also kind of reuniting with his mother and his sister, and just learning a lot about the clan's people and his role there. So there's a lot going on. Really enjoying this book, but I did also want to take the time to go through my advent calendars. So I have the Lindt chocolate one over here that I kind of bought on a whim when I went to Costco a couple weeks ago, and I had the Godiva one, which is the one that I initially got for the advent calendar. I usually do like a beauty or something else, like a wine one, but this year I didn't know if I really want to splurge on the beauty ones because those are usually kind of expensive, so I ended up getting these two. So I still end up splurging a little bit, but they weren't that expensive. I think this was like $40 and this was like $20, so it's not too much compared to the beauty ones. I do love advent calendars, they're so much fun. But yeah, I just wanted to like open them up in front of you guys. So let's go on the first day because today is December 1st. All right, so this is the first one, the Godiva, which is the one that's been sitting in my fridge actually for the past like 2 months. I like it nice and cold. First day is this one right here, so let's open it and see what I get. Okay, I get this little heart one. You guys can see it. Let's see what's inside. Oh, it's like a chocolate ganache. This is really good. All right, moving on to my Lindt chocolate one. Let's find number one. Right here. Oh, there's like 2 in here. So these are basically little, if I can see it, little chocolate balls. It says in the back they are Lindt mini double milk chocolate balls. So these are kind of what they have in here. I don't know if it's like all of it or if it's just some of them, but definitely excited for them for sure. Honestly, between Lindt chocolate and Godiva, Godiva is definitely my favorite of the two, but I do like Lindt chocolate sometimes as well. This is the classic milk chocolate. Can't go wrong here. Anyways, I will just update you guys later my reading, but I'm excited. It's now officially December, and cue all the Christmas music. Another thing I forgot to mention earlier while reading this book over here is that even though they are older, I would say that like their ages are probably like mid to late 20s, most likely like late 20s, maybe early 30s, because Jack was in the mainland for about 11 years and he went there for school. So I'm assuming he's like 28, 29, 30 years old. Adara's probably about the same age, but for some reason the tone of their voices, it really makes me feel like they are young adults, like 18, 19 years old, you know what I mean? So like I do find that really fascinating. That I don't know if it's because of Rebecca's previous experience writing as a YA author. Okay, my camera just died. But anyways, the point is though, I don't know if it's because Rebecca, like she's written YA books before, and I don't know if like that got translated into this adult book. So this is her first like her adult debut, and because of that I don't know if just her writing style hasn't fully translated into like adult writing. So that's why I get the sense that the characters are more like young adult versus, you know, possibly in their 30s kind of situation. So that's like the one thing I would say in terms of the character tone and like the impression that I get from their age. But I do want to show you guys Jobu for a second because she's sitting in such a fucking weird ass position. Look at her. Like, what? How? She looks like she's drunk and just like chilling. Anyways, I just saw this and thought it was so good. Anyways, that's all I can say for this update, but I just want to let you guys know that like that was my impression while reading this book. But anyways, I'm gonna go back and eat food now and also get back to reading. Happy Sunday, guys. Please ignore how I look. I'm looking like a solid mess right now. Today has been one of those tiring days where I was just out a lot. I actually went up to Fullerton again because I wanted to get rid of some more books and I had a lot of books to sell. So I ended up getting my friends to come along with me too so we can all go together. But I did manage to finally finish A River Enchanted 1 week after I started this vlog. So I think I started this vlog last Sunday Monday. And honestly, this is like a solid 4-star read. It was good, but it was not amazing. I do think that it could have been a solid 4.5, even 5-star read if it wasn't for a couple things. For example, I felt the pacing was very off. There were times when it was very draggy, very slow, especially in the beginning. And then there were times throughout the book where I just felt like it could have been shortened and there wasn't such a need for things to kind of like feel like it take forever for something to happen. Not only that, but the ending also felt, I don't know, like the way how everything was revealed was like, in theory, it was very, you know, huge plot twist, very shocking. But then when it was actually revealed, like my reaction was like, oh, interesting. You know what I mean? Like it was very like lackluster. But I feel like it's more of like a my thing versus a book slash the writing style thing. But that was just kind of like my response after seeing and reading the reveal of everything that happened in this book. So that was like one thing that was like, could have been better in terms of like the shock factor or like my reaction. But like I said, I think it might just be like a me thing and not a book thing. So, but that was still like part of my reaction while reading this book, which is why I still think it's a 4-star read. I would say that I am interested in picking up the sequel, which I think it just came out, but I'm just debating if I want to get the sequel in terms of the Illumina Crate version, which is a very gorgeous book, or if I just pick it up regular, but then it's like a broken up set. So I don't know, I'm still debating what to do. But I'm not like, I don't love this book, but it's still 4-star, which is still really solid. But yeah, I still really enjoyed it overall. There's a lot of stuff in it that was like also interesting, like in terms of the romance. Like I liked it, but also not. I don't know how to describe it. And then there were a few things about certain characters that was revealed towards the end that was like, that makes so much sense. But yeah, anyways, I was gonna say really for this book, I feel like I'm kind of rambling. Honestly, my mind's kind of all over the place right now. I'm just very tired. Like today was one of those tiring days and I feel like my mind just needs to like relax and like zone out for a little bit. I also have like a mild headache. But I did start my second book for this vlog, and that is gonna be Jade Fire Gold by June C.L. Tan. This is another fantasy book, but this one's about Asian fantasy, and I want to say it's about like, I just know it's inspired by Chinese mythology, I think, and that's all I really know. I'm gonna go into it kind of blind, but I only just started it earlier today and I am now on chapter 1. I read the prologue, so I'm on page 7, so made a ton of progress there, but I am hoping to make a good dent to it to date, and maybe in the next couple of days we'll see. I'm hoping to finish it, to be honest, but I was really hoping to finish a lot more books. I'm really hoping to finish books in just 2, because that'd be very sad, because I do have quite a number of like other books I need to get to. For example, like Vespertine is one of them, Court of Silver Flames, etc. So definitely a lot of books from my 5-star predictions video and the 22 books I'm supposed to read in 22. So a lot to get through, but I've definitely been reading a lot slower, especially because all the books I have left are fantasy, and fantasy I can only read them physically, so it's just been a lot more of a struggle to get through them. So I've been reading, and I am still reading this book right here. I'm now on page 108 or 109 right now. It's going. I don't know if I'm like loving the book, but it's definitely intriguing so far. I basically follow a girl, her name is An, who has some sort of magical abilities, and it was just revealed what specifically that magic ability is and how important that power is for the empire. And I also follows a guy called Alton, who is essentially like the heir to the throne, and due to circumstances he is now considered as dead and he's fled for his life, and right now he's trying to find out this person with the magical ability that just also happens to be on, and you know, hopefully utilize this person, aka On, because he didn't know that's her, to try and take back the throne. And there's a lot of things about these people called Tianshi or Tiansha, which are basically people with magical abilities. And there are 2 different types of people. One is the priest, who view this person with the magic ability to be the one to kind of save the empire. And then there is the other side, which is the Tiansha, who views this person, the same person, as the one who like bring doom. So they're trying to kill this person. And Altan is basically trying to utilize this person to essentially save the empire, but he is kind of in the middle of the 2 of them, where he thinks that this person is evil, but is also the only person who can wield the power to destroy the emperor, who is taken the throne, his uncle, and kind of it's just a lot of like political stuff basically. And so the two of them are supposed to meet. They have not met yet, or they did kind of, but like they didn't know who each other are. And so I'm curious to see like how their initial meeting will go once they discover the other person, and just kind of see like what happens from there. But so far it's interesting. I don't know if I'm loving it right now. It's kind of a 3-star read for me. It's intriguing, but that's what I can really say for it. I'm curious to know or kind of find out like how this book will continue with An and Alton, and also some of the side characters as well, especially Alton. Actually, I'm curious to see more about his alignment with the other people, for example Tiansha and the priest, because right now it seems like he's kind of in the middle. He is in line with Tiansha, but he also wants to preserve this person, so he kind of has equal like agendas on what he wants to do with the person with this powerful ability, aka An. So I'm just curious to see like more about him and kind of learn more about his like background, but it's still very early on in this book. I would say the reason why I'm not loving it is because it's kind of confusing. Even describing it to you guys, I feel like it's hard to describe because there's just so many moving components to it that it's not easily vocalized or put into like a cohesive thought. So that's kind of my main problem right now. It's just I feel like the book is kind of all over the place. It's very scattered. It follows 2 POVs, but it's like so much like back and forth, jumping around, that it's very hard to kind of like grasp exactly the meat of what's going on. So that's kind of my issue. But overall though, I'm still intrigued. Definitely want to continue reading it, and hopefully I will finish this book somewhat soon, because I'm already 100 so pages in. I think I'm about a quarter or so into this book, so hopefully I'll finish it the next day or two. We'll see. It depends on how much reading I get done in the next couple of days. All right. I can safely say that I have been reading. I am now on page 195 of Jade Fire Gold. I'm not loving it, but I'm also not hating it. I don't know, like it's an okay read for me. There's really not much to it. I feel like the pacing is really off because sometimes I feel like it's just really slow, and I mean right now we're like pretty much halfway through and they just met. And I'm like, the prologue or like the synopsis made it seem like they meet up really early in advance and they have so much, you know, the rest of the book just talks about, you know, them kind of working together and blah blah blah. But I'm like, we're halfway through this book right now and you've just met, which means that like there's just so much other like backstory that I don't even know if it's like super necessary. And not just that, but An, who is the girl with like the magical power, there's something about her that was revealed that I'm not really sure about. Like half of me is wondering if they're lying to her, and I'm just very skeptical that this person is who that person is in relation to An. And I'm just like, are they lying? Are they not lying? Like I'm just a very big cynic right now, and I just don't believe that this is the truth. So I don't know, I'm just very wary about what's happening. I also feel like the political landscape is just very confusing because there's so many terminologies that's thrown out there, and I feel like nothing has been really solidified. And I feel like yes, they've kind of mentioned it, but I don't know, maybe my mind is just like not working properly. But for me, I'm not computing. Like I kind of see where they're coming from. There's like the Tiansha, which are people of magic, but then there's also the Diye or like the Daye, which are people with also magic, and like the priests and stuff. But the question is like, they kind of believe different things, but also like they don't. I don't know, like it's just a little bit confusing. I feel like I kind of understood it more when I had first started reading this book, and I feel like I explained it, but then like now that I'm reading more and I'm halfway through, I feel like it's gotten more confusing and the lines have blurred a lot more in terms of like what each group is really striving for. And then there's also the whole introduction about the crown prince, and like the crown prince currently, not Alton, who is the prince who is presumed dead, but like the current prince, and kind of like his, you know, view on things. I kind of wish we get his perspective too, just because I feel like he's a really fascinating character, especially because he's caught up in the whole thing without actually trying to be caught up in the whole thing. He's just like an innocent bystander, and basically just because of his parents and like who he is and his family and everything, that he's caught up in all this. So I'm just curious to see more about his perspective. But I don't know, I'm just like, this book is okay, but it's not amazing. And part of me is like, should I just DNF this book? Like, is it really worth continuing? But at the same time, I kind of want to know like how they're gonna work together, right? Like that's what the whole premise is about, like how they're gonna work together. Like I'm curious, but it's just slow pacing and like weirdly choppy and other. I don't really know how to describe it. Just the pacing is just a little bit off to me. So I don't know. I'm still gonna read it though because I'm already like halfway through, so I might just continue. Plus it's also a very easy read in terms of like the writing style and like the language. It's just like an easy to comprehend type of read. So I'm flying through this when I'm actually sitting down reading it. All right, so originally I was planning to end this vlog today because it's been like a solid 2 weeks I think, but I'm gonna actually prolong it a couple more days because I only read 2 books for this. So I just managed to finish reading Jade of Fire Gold by June C.L. Tan. This book I am only going to give 2 stars. It was just not the book for me. I felt like the ending was incredibly cheesy and there were a lot of pacing issues. For example, there'd be times when it was very slow and then next paragraph would be like days later and you just jump forward in time, and it just felt very choppy and I was not there for it. I also felt like the romance was very mediocre. Like I felt like it was forced upon us and I was not a fan of that. There were times when, like, to be honest, I didn't even think that they were very good friends. Like they didn't really know each other very well. They didn't really actually talk to each other that much because of everything that was happening. They never really talked about each other, and then suddenly someone was like, oh, you're in love with each other, and I'm like, no they're not. Like I do not get a sense of romance at all from either parties, so I'm not sure why people are saying that they're in love with each other. And so the ending, when obviously there's a romance involved, you know, they kind of like discuss about the romance, and it was just very awkward for me because I was like, I never got the sense that there was any sort of romance at all in this book, even though I knew that there was, but it definitely did not feel like there was any sort of romantic inklings between either parties. So it just felt very forced and I was not a fan. I also felt like the story itself was very slow at times. It kind of goes into the pacing thing, but honestly I should have just DNF'd this book because it was just such a struggle to get through. But I was really hoping that things will pick up, and I think by the time I realized that things were not going to pick up, I was already like 3/4 of the way through. So I really wanted to like this book because I feel like the past couple books I've read by like Asian mythology and like Asian inspired by were amazing reads. Like Iron Widow is really good, Dragon's Promise, these are just really good books. So for me, I'm just like expecting like that kind of caliber, like Daughter of the Moon Goddess as well, but this was just so subpar. Like I'm just really disappointed because I was really hoping this would be an amazing read. So that is that with this book. So I'm going to prolong this video a little bit more because I really want to pick up Winter Keep to kind of talk about this a little bit. So this is the next book in the Graceling series, and I'm not sure if this is like a spin-off from that series or if it's like a continuation. I feel like it's a continuation, so I'm curious to see kind of like how the original series or trilogy plays into this role. I really enjoyed Graceling back in high school when I read it for the first time, so I have very high expectations for the series. I know this one just came out like a year or 2 ago, and then Sea Sparrow just came out I think recently or just coming out soon. So I'm really excited to get back into this world. I absolutely adored Graceling, so definitely can't wait to read more about the story and the character. So I'm really excited about this one. But that's, I think once I finish that book I will end this vlog, so hopefully the next couple of days. But I'm just so disappointed about Jade of Fire Gold. Like that was supposed to be like top tier for me, and that was just not the case. All right, so I have been reading. It's now like Sunday evening. I'm actually heading out for dinner soon, but I did manage to read a bit of Winter Keep. I'm now on page 87. So all I can say is I'm really enjoying it. Like the flow of the writing style, the characters, like everything is already so fascinating to me. So I'm really curious to find out what happens next. The only thing I would say is a little confusing right now is kind of introducing myself to the world, because I haven't reread Graceling in a very long time. Like I haven't looked at that world in a long time, and so right now I feel like the author is understanding of that. So she's kind of like sprinkling in information of stuff that we should have known if you had, you know, read Graceling and if it's fresh in our memory. So she's doing a little bit of like information, like sprinkles here and there, which I really appreciate because it allows me to kind of like reintroduce myself to the world without having to reread the entire series all over again. So I'm really enjoying that, really liking the story, really liking the world, and just reacquainting myself. The one thing I would say is a little bit confusing though is just that Winter Keep and where Bitterblue is at. For some reason I thought Bitterblue was queen of Winter Keep. That is not the case. They're two completely separate countries, and for some reason like it took me a while to like wrap my head around that. So there's like a bunch of things that's happening with politics and, you know, just kind of like the country mingling stuff situations happening that's a little bit confusing, but I'm really enjoying it, so definitely can't wait to continue reading on with it. But I'm doing this super fast because my battery's running out soon and I'm heading out in like a minute or two, but definitely can't wait to continue reading. All right, just doing a little quick update on my reading for Winter Keep. I am now on page 186. Honestly, I'm actually flying through this book. I've actually been able to just sit down and read because I've been interested in reading this book and I cannot wait to continue on with it. There isn't a lot to update you guys this time around, but I'm just continuing on with the book and just really enjoying the plot and the characters and kind of just see where everything's going along and just kind of see how everything's gonna go later on. But I'm excited to kind of find out what's happening because I feel like right now they're just so many like mysteries and threads that are being released and nothing has been like tied together yet. So I'm curious to see how everything comes together and just, you know, seeing how like all the different POVs, because this book does follow quite a number. It follows Bitter Blue, it follows Gideon, it follows this little girl called like Louisa, something like that. I don't really know how you pronounce her name. And it also follows a fox POV, and then there's also this creature that it follows as well, like in the sea. And so like it follows quite a number of POVs, and I feel like sometimes it's a little jarring that it just switches. So I'm really happy that I'm reading this physically because I feel like if I read this audioly or like listen to an audiobook, I would not be able to follow it. So I'm happy that I am reading this, and yeah, definitely can't wait to continue on the book. All right, so I have two things right now to update you guys on. One is the reading, which I would do after what I'm doing first, and the second one is actually an unboxing. So I just got this in the mail yesterday and I've just been dying to unbox this, and that is the Unplugged book box, which I have not done an unboxing in such a long time. I feel like I do unboxings kind of on my Instagram reels to showcase like all the items I got, but I haven't done an actual true unboxing in a very long time. So this is the first one. This is their December box, which I'm really excited. It's like freaking heavy too, so I am really excited to see what's in here. So let's just open it up and see what's inside. So this is the 2022 young adult box. It is the Moxie box. This is starting off with a this is a planner. Wait, I love this. Okay, so this is a planner. It looks like this. I love the theme here, and I think it's just a, I need to open this because I am going to be using this. I definitely want to check this out. Okay, so it looks like it is a weekly planner, and I love that it's not dated too, so you can basically use this any time of the year, any year. And yeah, like it has the month here, the reminder, some notes, and it's just like a basic planner. But I really need something like this because I'm always trying to find new ways to stay organized, and this will be perfect for that. It says over here, how dark the night that stretched before us, yet ablaze with the light of the moon and stars. Okay, so this is the planner pad, and it is inspired by Narnia. It says it also comes with a bookmark too. It's like a bookmark and planner pad, but I don't see that, so probably later on in the box. Let me continue. So the next thing I see is this fabric material. Okay, so this is a very long, oh, I think this is like a table runner, but look how beautiful this is. This is really cool. I feel like this is only good if you have a long table. I don't have a long table, so I need to figure out what to do with this. Maybe I'll gift it to someone who actually has a long table. So so this is a map collectible item of 2022, and this is the final one. But this is based off of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and that's really cool. Moving on to the next item. And I see this. Okay, this says Lila Reese. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So it looks like this is a body butter, but it says that it is inspired by Laura Nami Taylor's cozy book. It's called A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. It's supposed to smell of strawberries and baked goods that are reminiscent of the shop. All right, moving on to my next item here. It's another cloth-like item. Oh, is this a scarf? Someone else always has to carry on the story. Look how beautiful this is. This is inspired by Lord of the Rings. All right. I love Lord of the Rings. I'm really happy about this. I actually was just talking to my boyfriend yesterday. I was like, I need a new scarf because the only scarf I have is this like pink plaid one, and it's great. I love it, but I need variety. I cannot just have one scarf. And I used to have a plain burgundy scarf one, and I don't know what happened to it, so I'm happy that I have another scarf that I can use now. Anyways, next item here is a box, and it looks like this. Okay. Look how beautiful this is, and let's open it and smell it. It smells like clean fabric or like laundry. Yeah, it smells really good though. And it's the essence of innocence. Let's see what this is inspired by. The Little Prince. Okay, I haven't actually read The Little Prince, but I've heard really good things about that book, so super cute. Now this is the last item, and it's the book. Oh, I guess this is the bookmark. So this is the bookmark that came with the Narnia inspired planner. So this is super cute. Really like this as well. It says over here, one day you'll be old enough to start reading fairy tales again. All right, so this is the book that it comes in. It says Death by Society by Sierra L. Moore. Look at this. I have to open this because this is stunning. The edges are actually really pretty. Look at this. Look at this. Holy, I love the gradient look to it. And the inside is marbled. Look how beautiful this is. This is stunning. Absolutely stunning. So I'm super excited. Let's see what this book is about. It says, Mean Girl meets It's Kind of a Funny Story when two teenagers' world collide when one attempts suicide to avoid toxic popularity. It sounds very freaking good, actually. So it says over here that this is the original cover that's white, and this is the exclusive cover where it's black, and the hardcover foiling and the stencil edges are exclusive. Anyways, I'm super excited about it. The stuff looks amazing. I really like, I think my favorite item is probably this candle as well as this. Like, this is so useful for me. Those are my two favorite items, and then item after that will probably be the scarf, just because I actually need a scarf. So these three are my top 3 items in this box, which I'm very excited to get using. Like, this is, I'm gonna be using this like right now actually, because I've been using just a notepad with just like notes on, but this will be helpful for me to actually get like some planning out in terms of like deadlines and everything. So very happy about this. But anyways, moving on to the update for the book over here, Winter Keep. I am now on page 214. I don't even remember when I last updated you guys. I want to say I was already on page 200, so I haven't made a ton of progress since I last updated you guys, if I remember correctly. But I'm enjoying the book. I'm reading it. I'm really hoping to get this done, or the book done, by tonight, because it is Tuesday. If not tonight, then tomorrow at the very latest, because I would like to get this video up on Monday next week. So fingers crossed to me reading this, finishing it, and then editing and doing all that stuff. But I'm really enjoying the book. It's really freaking good. I think that there's just so many threads, and I'm curious to see how everything comes together. The one thing that keeps throwing me off is just all the POVs, because it feels like it follows so many different characters. So I'm just trying to keep it organized somehow in my mind, like how, like who the characters are, how they relate to each other, and if they even met, because there's some characters who have never met each other, and so you're just getting like perspectives from like very different people. And then there's some where like you kind of know them, or you know about them, but they haven't actually met you yet, etc. So there's a lot of like pieces that are being interwoven. So I'm curious to see how everything plays out, but I'm really enjoying the characters. I'm really enjoying the plot. Definitely a lot of intrigue and politics involved, and I'm just curious to see how everything turns out. So I will get back to reading, but I'm really liking this book so far, and I kind of want to pick up Sea Sparrow. I don't know when that comes out. I want to say it just came out, but I do really want to pick up Sea Sparrow soon, and then just continue on with this world, because it is just such a fascinating world. And I'm so happy to say that Kristen Cashore, the author who wrote this book, she has not let me down so far. So really happy, because Graceland, like I said already, has been like one of my favorite books when I was growing up, like one of my favorite series. So I'm really happy to say that so far her writing has seemed like it has evolved, that I still enjoy it, even though I'm much older than when I was, you know, back in high school. So anyways, I will hopefully finish this book soon and I'll get back to you guys. I am here to officially end the vlog. It's been a lot longer than I initially expected. I was only hoping to extend this vlog for maybe like 2-3 days, but then, you know, I didn't finish the book and there's an emergency yesterday, like a medical emergency. So here I am now, Friday, basically an entire week after I intended to finish this vlog, but I want to go ahead and talk about Winter Keep. So I did finish this book and I have to say I really enjoy this. This is a solid 4-star read. I wouldn't say this is a 5-star read because of a few quirks. First of all, this is not about like the book itself, but I did want to also mention this. I just feel like I am older now and I feel like if I was still in high school, I would still really enjoy this book, like more so than now. So that might have changed a little bit on my experience, but I feel like there were a few plot pacing issues, I guess, where it was fast and then it was slow and then, you know, it kind of dragged a little bit. So I wouldn't say the pacing was the best. I also felt like the POVs, because there were so many, it was kind of hard sometimes to pick things up, I think, especially because some of these POVs had like nothing to do with each other. So you're just like in one mindset and suddenly you're thrust into another one and then back and forth, and there's just so many POVs. Not only that, I feel like the way how the book ended, which I really enjoyed, there were a few POVs specifically with the fox that I wished like had expanded on a little bit more. Like I obviously know like what happened to the fox, but at the same time it's like I still wanted a bit of an exposure. I felt like after that was kind of done, said and done, like the fox was gone. But like I know for a fact based on what happened to this fox that the fox is still very much a part of the story. And so when the other characters were there, I wish that the fox had made an appearance, kind of situation. Like certain things like that, I'm like, I wish that things had expanded a little bit more for certain characters. Oh, and the one big reason why I feel like this is still only a 4-star read is because there's this one particular character. We had so many like POVs from this character, and then just when things were getting like so crazy, this character completely disappeared, and this character kind of showed up, but not from that perspective anymore. It was like from the perspective of other characters. And so I'm curious to kind of see like more about this character, and like the conclusion of this character is very much vague and not concluded. It's very inconclusive. So that's another thing that I was like, I wish had been done differently with how the characters like in their endings occurred. But overall though, I think it's a really solid book. Really enjoyed it. Love the characters, the story, love the magic system. I do really like the whole telepathic blue fox situation. I thought that was really cool and very unique. I also liked, I honestly like the fox. Honestly, it's just such a character. Like the more I think about it, the more I really enjoy the fox, because he is like such a good like animal, like familiar slash companion. And a lot of the way how foxes are described in this book is that they're very loyal, very docile, etc. But this particular fox, because we get his perspective, you see how very not like that they are. You know, like he really has his own personality. He has his own like, you know, qualms about what's right and what's wrong, and you know what he should do and what's ethical and all that stuff. And I really enjoy reading about his character, and I definitely can't wait to see more of him in Sea Sparrow. So overall though, like I said already, I like this book, highly recommend. But just kind of going through all the books I did read. So I did read A River Enchanted, which I think I gave like 3.5 stars, 4 stars. Really good book. I don't think it was the best in terms of all the books I've read from her, but I think it was a solid read. Then I read Jade Fire Gold, which unfortunately was a 2-star book. I think, to be honest, it might even be 1.5 star. Like the more I think about it, the more I am not, you know, on board with that book. And then of course the final book I read was Winter Keep, which is a solid 4-star read. But that's all I'm gonna say for this video. Let me know down below if you have read any of these books before, and if you have, what do you guys think about them. But as always, if you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up. I really just help out my channel. And if you can see more content of me, please don't hesitate to subscribe down below, as well as hit the notification bell. And as always, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.